Hello everyone, Pierce Nation here. Welcome to a new video. We're going to be discussing the Blue Eyes and Dark Magician support that will come out in Battle of Chaos, and I've already got it pulled up here, as you can see on my lovely little layout here. First, we're going to be talking about this card right here, which is a great card that came out in the 2021 Mega 10s. If you have not gotten this card or you do not know what it does, I'm going to explain to you exactly what this card is and why you should add it into your deck if you play Dark Magician. This card is called Magician Salvation. It is the field spell for Dark Magician, and it reads here: you can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn, and you can only activate the second effect of this card's name once per turn. You can set Eternal Soul straight from the deck, which is what most players are going to use it for, and this is the big secondary effect that it has. If you normal or special summon cards from your graveyard, if you normal or special summon a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, you can target one of those special summon from the graveyard, one Dark Magician or one Dark Magician Girl whose name is different from that target. So basically, vice versa, the Dark Magician, you're supposed to summon Dark Magician Girl. If you have Dark Magician Girl, you're supposed to summon Dark Magician to your field, which is an easy way to do that, and would keep me from having to use, like a Sage Stone, and you wouldn't really have to run Bond from teacher to student anymore. This one's a big one, and the name is different of the card, of course. In the Japanese, I guess it says Shadow the Darkness, but this is actually Piercing the Darkness, which I've went over this card many a times. But if you do not fully understand what this card does, anything like that, then I'll explain it to you. And this is nonsense. This is actually, I think this is his thing, right? I'm not. Let me pull out the card. I can tell you for a fact that's not the right deck. Let's see here. I can actually read you off what the card actually does. Should be right here somewhere. Hang on. Piercing the Darkness. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So it's just worded differently than what I've got, but it's basically the same. Okay, so this is Piercing the Darkness, not Shadow the Darkness. And what it does, it says you can only use each of this card's name once per turn, which duh. If you normal or special summon a non-token normal monster, you can draw one card, which is Dark Magician, Red Eyes, anything of that sort. So it says when one of the following monsters you control declares an attack and battles an opponent's monster until the end of the turn, the monster gains attack equal to the attack of your opponent's monster. So basically, if you are on the offense, you're going to want to go into the highest monster on the field, so that if you have a effect where you have to hit every single monster on the field, you can take them out immediately. That's what sucks about special summoning nowadays, is this card is going to really hit you where it hurts. In my videos, you will see that I have went against my Blue Eyes deck, and they have done that to me. So it's very interesting to see. A level 5 or higher normal monster, which is Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, Red Eyes. I've done whatever that. A ritual summon monster that uses a normal monster. So if you're a ritual summon, that'll work too. Fusion, Synchro, and Exceeds. It was used. Normal monster is material. So as long as you do that, that Fusion, Synchro, Exceeds, and ritual monster will get the boost. It definitely will. So with that being said, it's very, very hard to beat this card. Again, everybody knows True Light, because I've went over this card probably 1,000 times. It's a continuous trap card. You can use one of the effects once per turn. It's supposed to summon Blue Eyes from your hand or graveyard, directly set to your field from your deck. One spell or chapter specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon in its text. That has a different name from the cards you currently control, and in your graveyard, as I might say. If you can banish them, good for you. I don't have any banish effects, so I don't do that. It says Blue Eyes White Dragon in your monster zones cannot be targeted by monster effects, which is a big one. That means you could put alternative out there, and now he cannot be targeted because he is Blue Eyes White Dragon. which is very good, and that's what I was trying to explain to people, and they just could not fathom that, but now you know. This face-up card in the spell and trap zone is sent to the graveyard. Destroy all monsters you control. And this is a big effect, except on the new card coming out, which we will now go over that now. New support for Battle of Chaos. And this is where I get most of my info from when I get updated on new cards. And I got updated on the new zombie cards today, which was cool to know. So I'm constantly, searching for new cards, waiting on the new support, the whole deal. Okay, so we're going to start off with Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. I don't know if this is going to have the Dark Magician stuff in here too, is it? I hope it is. No, but we'll find it. Alright, so we're going to start off with Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. And why that this card is so good. What date did this come out? Because I actually want to put the date on there. October 26th. Because I'm actually going to try to put the date on there. Okay, so this is Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. He's got, as we all know, he's got 3 effects. Jet's first effect: if a card is on the field is destroyed by battle card effect, it lets you special summon it from your hand or graveyard. The effect is great over the course of the long game. Blue Eyes is great at destroying stuff. You have no problem triggering this. Let's see, where is the second effect? Jet's second effect is a continuous effect which protects your other cards from destruction by your opponent's effects. This is great against cards with mass destruction from your opponent's card effects. This is great against with mass destruction like Lightning Storm, Twin Twisters, or Geki. Just note, this doesn't protect your cards from your own effects. Duh. And thirdly, hold on a minute. They didn't explain it here, but it protects your other cards. It doesn't protect Jet Dragon. They forgot that little side note there, is Jet Dragon will be destroyed. So, like that, I mean, that's great to know, but Jet Dragon will be destroyed because it protects other cards you control, not this card. And thirdly, Jet lets you bounce a card at the start of the damage step if it battles, which is fantastic, which I found that out while I was playing. If you guys watched my Blue Eyes video of me going over that, what's Blue Eyes? I think it was Dark Magician actually, because I went to attack into it and it flipped it back to me. But very good. Okay, so Tyrant D is probably the best, and I'm not gonna say play, but it is the best King of D, Lord of D, whatever you want to call it. It is the best variation of that card. I'm gonna get rid of this ad real quick on here. This is the best variation of this card. You're not really gonna find something better than this, because he literally sets up Jet Dragon right away, and he starts, being able to do stuff. Plus, he can bring you Blue Eyes monsters back from the graveyard. I'll explain every single effect right now. D's first effect sends a Blue Eyes White Dragon from hand or deck to the graveyard. It's supposed to summon itself. You don't have to, you can normal summon it, but that is a good way to get it on, so I'll just go ahead and do that because that sets up everything. It's going to explain it to you here. This effect is great for setting up True Light, Jet, and Abyss, and a new Blue Eyes fusion spell that we'll talk about later. Whatever. I already know about all this. Spellcaster. D's second effect that lets you discard a card that lists Blue Eyes in its text to special summon a Blue Eyes monster from the graveyard again, which is like solid. Dragon of White. Any of your Blue Eyes monsters, you're getting it right there. It says the effect is great for reviving any of your Blue Eyes monsters, collect fusions and synchros if applicable, which is very true. I do agree with that. And his third effect, which is his biggest effect, is it lets you choose your attack targets if you control a Blue Eyes monster, which if they're in your graveyard and you use this effect, you're gonna get that as well. Overall, D is a good utility card for the archetype. He is a very good card. So now we're gonna move on to the card that I was referring to. So, and they do mention it here, which is fantastic because this is the first site I've went to where it actually mentions like what it does. Okay, so Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon is Blue Eyes' new fusion monster, which is Blue Eyes' new boss monster. If you're going to run Blue Eyes after February, I will say you need to run this card. There is no way you do not run this card and call it a meta deck, because that is not true. This card changes the meta from what it is to where now it's gonna be. So if you love Blue Eyes monsters like I do, then you'll love this card right here. Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon is a new Blue Eyes fusion monster. I've already went over this. It's very easy to do. Just 2 dragon monsters. Fuck its other equip effect. Like, don't even try to do that. I don't even know how you would do that, but don't do it. Tyrant's first effect is a continuous effect that gives it protection from the effects of trap cards. This makes Tyrant good against trap heavy decks, as a lot like Altergeist, Eldritch, which I did run, and a few others, which again is Dark Magician, because Dark Magician and Blue Eyes are constantly fighting. That's why you can't target, and now it's protected by trap effects, which is good in all facets of the game. People say trap cards are out of the meta. No, they're not. They're literally not. I can prove it in many ways. More than one. I can run this Blue Eyes deck. I can run it with trap cards, and it will see success. It's also worth mentioning that this makes Tyrant also unaffected by the drawback of True Light, which I have said before. This card cannot be destroyed by True Light, which makes it almost utterly invincible. Tyrant's second effect is also a continuous effect that lets it attack all of your opponent's monsters once each. The effect is great for running through boards with a lot of monsters. Since Tyrant has a respectable 3400 attack, should have no problem beating over monsters in the meta. This is true. I want to see if they do not mention it. Okay, so this basically, like, let's say you go against something like Drytron and they have a bunch of monsters lined out, and they're all across the board and they're in defense, attack, whatever. Okay, and let's say they've got like 3 of them on with 4,000. Well, this card is gonna have a fucking heyday as long as you get Pierce in the Darkness, because literally he's gonna get 7,400 and he's gonna run over 3 of them in that game. So that's literally how that's gonna go, because if you cannot stop him, it's done, because he can reset True Light, and off of True Light, once it goes to your opponent's turn, it's gonna supposed to summon Blue Eyes to your side of the field, and then he's good to go. Like, he has no repercussions here. Or he don't even have to summon Blue Eyes. He can just activate True Light and then pull Destined Rivals, and then like on my turn summon Blue Eyes, activate Destined Rivals, negate all your effects, and be done with it, which is very nice to do. Again, as you can see, some other great choices are True Light and Destined Rivals. I do agree. These are really, really good cards. And again, you can see that there's the price of the cards. It's not that expensive. They're really good cards. I do run them. Even True Light. True Light is relatively cheap. Like, you can get 3 of them for less than $10. Definitely. Ultimate Creature Destruction, again, is a cheap card. If you don't get it now, it's not going to be cheap. I'm going to tell you this right now. It is going to go through the fucking roof, because it's got Blue Eyes on the name. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the spell cards that run with Blue Eyes, which are very important. And this is the Ultimate Fusion. That is a quick play, which means I can play it whenever you activate something. That acts as a Miracle Contact for Blue Eyes, but with an additional effect. like a miracle effect. Ultimate lets you fuse monsters by shuffling from the hand, field, and graveyard into the deck. But unlike that, Ultimate Fusion can destroy your opponent's cards if the conditions are met. And the conditions for that is, for every card you have on the field that is used as fusion material, that is on the field, not the graveyard, on the field, you can destroy that many cards your opponent controls. So, basically, you want to try to get them on the field. If you can't, just go ahead and activate it and go through it. It's not really that big a deal. Again, it's very good. Basically, setting this up is not that big a deal. Again, I'm still going to run polymerization because you're not always going to be able to get to this card, and sometimes you can actually double off of it. So like if you polymerization and then you win into Ultimate Fusion, you could get two ultimates out at the same time, or you could get ultimate and the tyrant out at the same time, which is very handy. And then you can use your ultimate fusion to kind of shuffle them back in the deck, which is very nice to have that needed material back in the deck. And then you can keep popping off Bingo Machine Go and everything like that, which is very good. So that's basically all there is to the ultimate fusion. It's just a polymerization. So unfortunately, you cannot get Abyss to pull this card because it is not polymerization. It's just ultimate fusion. So this is the apparition with eyes blue. It is the final new card that we know of so far. It is December 7th, and we do not know anything more yet. But the moment I know something, I will do a video on it, just like I'm doing a video on this. I really wanted to go over this so that I could explain everything that is. So this is pretty good. I'm just going to quickly read over the effects and then move on to Dark Magician, go over the new support, and be done with it. Because all I got to do is go over the Battle of Chaos, and then I am done with this video. I've done like 6 videos today because I was out yesterday because I had to go to the emergency room because I had a stomach problem, which I am taking medication for now, and I feel a lot better now than I did then, but we'll get to that in another time. So this is the apparition with eyes blue. Let's see, activation, apparition's first effect lets you reveal a blue-eyed dragon in your hand. Upon activation, if you do, you can special summon one monster from your hand. Since this effect has no restriction, you can summon almost anything, except for Blue Eyes Shining. That is a no-go. Don't even try it. It's no-go. One good option is Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, which I do agree. Another good option is Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Provides early protection. That I don't know about. I don't know if I would go straight into that right away. Maybe though, because you can't really battle into it because you can flip a card. So I mean it's not easy to deal with. Since this effect has no restrictions, you can even summon something like, what the hell is that? I have no idea what the fuck that is. I would not use that unless you bounce your opponent's summon monster to hand, which I just went over that. First effect is good for getting on the board. Yeah, it's good for getting on the board because it protects your monsters from being destroyed, your other monster from being destroyed by card effects. But this one, it is very good for getting on the board because you can special summon any monster from your hand besides Shining, that is. Always gonna throw that out there because I played people who thought they could actually play Shining straight from hand off of some cards they had, and I was like, no, it has special requirements. If they were not met, then you can't play Shining. I'm a big Shining player, so I know all about it. Overall, the support is pretty good. Easier setup and a stronger grind game. Although the support won't make Blue Eyes top tier, and you are wrong. That will make it top tier. If you've seen my deck profile on the way it is, if I add these cards into my deck today, it would be top tier. If if I have Dark Magician built all the way I want it, and I have the new Battle of Chaos support, it is top tier. This tier will completely knock Tri-Brigade, Drytron, Virtual World, anything you could think of, even Sword Soul, it'll knock it right off the face of the earth, just because of how protective and how diverse that Blue Eyes is getting, and Dark Magician as well. You could think I'm a little biased on it, but not really biased. I know good archetypes when I see them. That's why I chose Drytron as my first actual archetype, and then I went back and rebuilt Blue Eyes because I heard that this was coming out. And when I found out, I was like, oh, Blue Eyes is going to be the shit. And yes, it will be. So with that being said, let me see if I can find Dark Magician now. Let's see here. Let's go back right there. Dark Magician support. Looking for YGO. Is that the one I'm looking for? Maybe. Yes, sir. There it is. Okay. So I'm gonna move that right there so I can actually see what I'm doing. Magic Haribo. This no one is going to use. I'm going to tell you this right now. There is nothing you are going to do. The only way you could possibly use this card, I'm going to go ahead and read you the effect, and it has to be in the graveyard, which is very hard to pull off. It says you can only use the first and second effects of this once per turn during the main or battle phase. If you took battle damage or damage from an opponent's card this turn, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Supposed to summon Dark Magician or Magician Girl from your deck or graveyard. That is a very hard condition to make. Now you're like, well, you'll take battle damage. Yeah, but am I gonna have this card in my hand? Is this card searchable? No, it's not. This card is not searchable. A Dark Fiend in a Dark Magician deck is not searchable. I could probably get it, but it would be very hard. Now, this one I like. This is Tamiyas, the Dragon of Destiny, which is a level 8 light dragon effect monster. I will have this in my deck. Why I don't have it on EDO is because I'm an idiot. It's not gonna sugarcoat that anymore. So you can use this card's first and second effects once per turn each, like every other card currently in the meta, which is no surprise at this point. You can send one spellcaster monster or one spell or trap that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text from your hand face up to, or from the hand or face up field to the graveyard. You're supposed to summon this card from your hand, which is very, very good. There's a lot of spells and a lot of traps that I run in Dark Magician, so that is not hard to do. Probably run this card as a 2-off if I had to be honest. And then it says during your main phase, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including at least one spellcaster monster, which is very easy to set up. Again, I'd run that as a 2-of, just so I don't triple that thing in my hand at one point in time, which you can do. Not very often, but you can do it. Illusion of Chaos, which is a 3-of. I run this card as a 3-of on EDO. This card is very good. You're not going to actually ritual summon this card. You're actually going to use it to get the other cards out of your deck. So as you can ritual summon this card with Chaos form, and you can reveal its first and second effects each once per turn. You can reveal this card in your hand, which is what I do. Add one Dark Magician or one non-ritual monster that specifically lists that card's name in its text from your deck to your hand. Then place one card on top of the deck, which is very handy. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, you're supposed to summon one Dark Magician from your deck, and if you do, negate that effect, which is very, very, very good. So I will be running this as a 3-of, no less. Dark Magician's new boss monster. Like, they needed another one, but Here we are. So this one's actually a pretty okay boss monster. I like it. It doesn't really hold up very well compared to the Tyrant of the new Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, but I do like this card, and I will use this card when it comes out. Its materials is Dark Magician, Chaos, or Black Luster Soldier Ritual Monster, which I'm going to use Dark Magician in that ritual card in order to get into this. And it says that you can use the first, second, and third effects of this card once per turn each, which is very, very handy that you can use all three of them once per turn. One, if this card is fusion summoned, you can target one light or dark monster in your graveyard, special summon it, which is a really good effect. It does not specify on what type you can use. It doesn't specify if it is a Xyz, Link, Fusion, Normal, whatever. It does not specify, which means that you can get into about anything in Dark Magician deck. Which is why you need to stick to this archetype, not Fiend. Very important to remember. Do not use that Karibo. You want to stick to this. Its second effect, you contribute one light or one dark monster, banish all monsters your opponent controls. Like I told you, this card is pretty damn good. And if you're using that to special summon on, then you can banish that same, you can tribute that same card and banish everything your opponent controls, which is very handy to do. And you can activate that in the same turn, every turn. If this fusion summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one spell or trap, or one spell in your graveyard, not trap, add it to your hand. Which, you're basically just shuffling back in. You're basically just resetting your Eternal Soul in the very next turn, which is very handy. So you take a card like this with these crazy effects, and then you add Piercing the Darkness to it, and you see why that this is going to be broken. You're going to see why Dragoon is broken. Because if I get Dragoon and this card on at the same time, and it's consistently banishing your cards, that is game. There is nothing you can do. Like, there are so many ways for Dark Magician to go off now that it is going to be unfair to players that come in and they build the Flaunderies, the Drytron, Sword Soul, whatever you can think of that Blue Eyes and Dark Magician have taken back over the meta. And if, like I told you, if Konami wants Blue Eyes and Dark Magician to be meta, it will be meta. And I think I've ranted about this enough. So now I think you might start understanding like why these cards are so broken. And people was like, well, it's not really a broken card. No, it ain't a broken card. But when you put the whole deck around this card, it's broken. Because literally, you're not going to be able to stop this thing. Like, it's going to be hard. You're going to take out Dragoon with Piercing the Darkness? Are you kidding me? Oh, guess what? Eternal Soul won't get him either. And you're not really going to be able to target Dark Magicians. Actually, you can't hit Dark Magicians with card effects at all while Eternal Soul was set. So, it's kind of ridiculous. And to see that this thing can banish all monsters your opponent controls. You're going to tell me you're going to be able to stop that? I beg to differ. If you guys feel the same way that I do about the new support of all from the 2021 Mega 10s to what's coming out in Battle of Chaos, you let me know in the comments down below. But I think this thing is absolutely broken for Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, and I think this is a new setting point to where they're going to take over the meta, and I'm never more glad for it. But I'm Pierce Nation, and this is all the time I have. I'll see you in the next video. Pierce Nation out.